Peace be upon you. Tonight is going to be, for the UK at least, the night of destiny. This means your glorification, your tasbih, your praising of God, your remembrance of God, all of that will be multiplied better than 1,000 months. That's a lot of months. So I hope you absorb that opportunity. And at night, tonight, after iftar, after you eat, make sure to stay the night, wake up, go to the mosque, maybe not your mosque, just praise God, right? That's how you earn your credits. Anyway, this video isn't dedicated to Night of Destiny. This video is dedicated towards prayers. So I've met a lot of Quranists since becoming a submitter. I was once a Quranist myself, and not a single Quranist prays the same way. And their prayer method is up for revision, meaning they understand something today, they'll pray it this way. They understand something tomorrow, they'll pray a different way. Their fasting is up for revision. Their wudu is up for revision. Their zakat is up for revision. Their hajj, God knows what's going on there, right? But we'll go back. So the verse is in 11:114. وأقم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وأقيم الصلاة طرفي النهار وزلفا من الليل. So taraf here is the ends of the day. So if you were a Quranist, you might say, the ends of the day is before sunrise, before sunset. That's two prayers there, right? And at night, i.e. Isha or Maghrib or whichever one you think you're supposed to be praying. And then another verse clarifies that you should be praying in Duluk al-Shams, for the declination of the sun, 1778. And this is where you get the threefer, I call them. The people that like to pray 3 times a day. This isn't the complete picture. So first and foremost, both ends of the day, at one end of the day, how do you know for a fact that there's only one prayer? So if one of the end of the day is sunset, right? And that's a tipping point, that's a sharp edge. Then the prayers, the plural of salat, could be at both ends of those points. So you don't know for a fact that it's going to be in Asr, it's going to be Maghrib. You can't guarantee which one it is. You just know that there's going to be a prayer somewhere there. And there's 2 ends of those days. So that's already supposed to be 3 of the prayers. So in the Quran, 2 of the prayers are mentioned by name. 2 of the prayers, as-salat, is mentioned by name. And that's in 24:58. It says, your servants and the people who haven't reached maturity shall ask permission to basically enter your rooms. These are 3 private times for you. At 3 specific times. The first time, qablat al-fajr, qablat al-salat al-fajr. So before the fajr prayer, as-salat al-fajr. So the prayer of fajr. So fajr for sure is fixed. There's a clear definition in the Quran. You know you got to do fajr somehow. Second part, it says, وَهِنَا تَضَعُونَ ثِيَابَكُمُ الظَّاهِرَاتِ. So when you change your clothes at zuhur. So here it doesn't use the word as-salat. It uses the period itself. So zuhur is mentioned in the Quran as a period. Zuhur is noon. This is known. Unless you guys want to revise that understanding too. So zuhur is known. Now this zuhur, why is it defined in that way? We'll go to the third part first. So the third part is وَبَعْدَ الصَّلَاةِ الْإِشَاءِ, after the Isha prayer. So now you're starting to see a pattern. In 11:114 is tarafin nahar, both ends of the day, was zulafa min al-layl. And at the beginning, zulafan is like the early part of something, at the beginning of the night. And now consider the wisdom of what is being expressed here. God doesn't need to specify the times of prayer and how to pray, because this is covered in 2173. These are religious rites taught to us by Abraham and the Imams that passed them down, right? وَمَا جَعَلْنَا أئمة يهدون بأمرنا وأوحينا إليهم فعل الخيرات وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة وكانوا لنا عابدين. So we know how to pray, but this God is trying to give you datum points, pillars in the day to make you understand some duties, some regulation in your activities. So the instruction is, after your Isha prayer, as-salat al-Isha, you have this thalatha awratin, which is 3 private times for you. After Isha, and consider the wisdom as well, that you would typically be praying with your family as a congregation, right? I'm done praying with my family. Now I want to hang out in the bedroom or something like this with my wife. My kids are doing whatever they're doing in their rooms. Now at this point, after I finish Isha prayer, the kids must request permission to enter my room. Obvious reasons. But before that, you're already mingling, you're watching Netflix together, whatever the case is, you haven't established the Isha prayer yet, your night is not yet complete, right? The logical thing to do is to complete the night. So this is that wisdom. The first instance is when you cap the night off and you're done, you finish your Isha prayer as a family, you go do your thing. Kids at this point must understand, the ones that have reached puberty, to ask permission, right? And the servants as well, if you have servants. The second part is saying Qablat Salat al-Isha, before the, Qablat Salat al-Fajr, before the Fajr prayer. If your kids wake up, I don't know, 3 a.m. before the Fajr prayer or something like this, super early, they have to request permission to get in. Again, obvious. So that's one continuous range. Now, why isn't Salat al-Dhuhr mentioned here? The reason it's not mentioned is because it's not tied to anything. It's just a specific period where you change your clothes, thiyabakum. So typically this would happen in most European places, maybe in most places in general, at noon. You have siesta. The sun is hot, you're steaming, you want to cool down, you want to spend time with your partner, whatever. That's typically at noon. But your zuhur prayer can be done at any point in time. So if God had said after your zuhur prayer or before your zuhur prayer, you'd be lost. You'd be thinking, right, before the zuhur prayer, if I do my zuhur at 3 p.m. and it's before that, means the whole period after Fajr or some point, they have to ask for permission. Doesn't make sense. So this is that wisdom. These are the 3 periods. So we've now got 2 of the prayers named. One of them is the time period. Isha, Fajr named. Dhuhr as a period is named. And then you go to Duluk al-Shams wa Ghasq al-Layl. This is in 1778. God is saying, pray wa aqim as-salat Duluk al-Shams, when the sun is at its zenith. Dalaka is at the rubbing or the declination of the highest point. So when the sun is at its highest point and it goes down, that's a prayer. And then you've got Ghasaq al-Layl. Ghasaq is the deepening of something. Layl is night, so it's the darkening of the night. When is that? That's Isha prayer. It's not the Maghrib prayer when the light is starting to dissipate. The sun is disappearing on the horizon up to 18 degrees before the light is completely invisible. This is called the astronomical twilight. At this point, when the night is the deepest it could be for you, that's when you do your Isha prayer. Ghasaq al-Layl. And then in 2238, God is commanding you to observe Salat al-Wusta, the middle prayer. Now, this isn't the name of the prayer. This is mentioning the period of the prayer. If you notice, out of all the verses we've read thus far, if you were believing that you only had 3 prayers, you would be incorrect, because there's a lot of periods and names that I've mentioned thus far, right? You've got Duluk al-Shams, that's one prayer when the sun declines from the highest point. That's Zuhur. You got the Salat al-Wusta, which is the middle point between 5 prayers. Fajr and Zuhur is 1, 2. 4 and 5 is Maghrib and Isha. In the middle would be 3, which would be Asr. Both ends of the day, 11, 1, 1, 4. One end of the day is the Fajr prayer. The other end of the day is Asr, and Maghrib. And then the final prayer is Isha, which was mentioned before in 2458. So this is, I guess it's a challenge, right? For you guys that want to pray 3 times, 0 times, 1 time, no times, whatever, you're making your own religion. Some of you don't even believe that you should be praying, which again is a DIY version of the religion. And then you've got the wudu, right, in 5:6. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, idha kumtum ila salat, when you establish the prayer, faghsilu wujuhakum, wash your face. Wa aydiyakum ila al-marafiq, your hands up to your elbows. Wamsahu bi ru'usukum, then wipe your head. And then wa aydiyakum ila al-ka'bayn, and then your leg up to your ankles. Why are you doing that? What's your prayer? Do you even do wudu if you don't pray? If you pray some odd way, are you doing your wudu? So this is the problem. That people on one side, you got the Sunnis, the traditionalists, who want to say that you Quranists don't know how to pray. That's not me, by the way. When in the hadith, there is no literature, not a single one, that teaches you how to pray. And then you got Quranists. They want to build the entire nugget of their religion from the Quran alone. That's what the Quran was sent down for. The Quran was sent down to settle disputes, clarify matters, all related to your salvation. The prayer was preserved, more preserved than the Quran itself. If you were in Muhammad's time and you had to memorize the Quran, you might be 1 out of 100 that became a hafiz at the end of your lifetime. About 100 people out of 100 would have had to pray 5 times a day, every day, following the Imam. So that tradition isn't going to get lost. The way you pray, the way everybody prays, was taught down, at least traditionally. If you're a Quranist, the way you pray is made up, right? What you say, you don't know. Do I say takbir? Do I say the niyyah? Do I read a verse in the Quran? Which verse in the Quran? What do I do? Do I bow? Do I prostrate? What's the mechanism of prostration? What do I say during prostration? What do I say during bowing? What do I say when I sit? Is there a tahiyyat? What do I recite in the tahiyyat? Is there a salam? You know nothing. Unless you understand that God has prescribed and controlled these events so that you would have the religion that you need. The people that are lost, they're lost because they've abandoned the Quran, right? It doesn't mean that you then go into the Quran and create your own religion. You can't do that. With that, you can do all number of things. You can say alcohol is halal. You can say adultery is fine. You can come up with your own religion that suits your own needs. That's not a religion. That's a fabricated, egotistical, driven solution. And that will end you in one place and one place only. So, if you want the real truth, you want the real religion, you need to understand that God has given you a messenger in this time, and the messenger clarifies the truth for you. And he comes with proof. He didn't just rock up and said, oh, I'm a messenger of God, you shall worship God alone, I don't ask you for money. He brings proof. With that proof, if you investigate it, you will see that the probability of this being a fake messenger, from God, by the way, from God, is nil, 0. That's where code 19 comes in. And I guess that might be the next focus of the video. Peace be upon you.